Hi there, I am the franchise king, Joel Libava. I want to talk about the real state of franchising halfway through the year. You're going to hear some things that most people in franchising aren't talking about, at least publicly, but I've never been one to be shy when it comes to the real things going on in franchising. So, how is franchise going right now? It's going okay, not great. One of the reasons, and this, just take it for what it's worth. When things in our country are chaotic, it kind of trickles down to business and small business, in this case, franchising. Everything from tariffs. There's tariffs one day that are 130%, tariffs that are 50% the other day. 10 minutes later, it's changed again. How, as a small business owner, how, as a franchise owner, do you project out? How do you stock your store? How do franchisors order equipment that they need for franchisees, especially if they don't know where it's going to be coming from? For example, if the furniture that a franchisor orders for franchisees for their restaurant, if it's been coming from Canada for the past 4 or 5 years and the prices have been pretty stable, and all of a sudden there's 150 or 100% tariffs on Canada, are you supposed to order that furniture from Canada? And when the prices go up, what do you do with it? Do you eat it, or do you have the franchisees pay for it? It's a tough one. And if things are always going up and down, it's really tough to do forecasting. The stock market also affects franchising in a huge way, especially for career changers who want to maybe use some of the money from their 401ks to fund a franchise, or some of the money from their savings. If the stock market's going up and down, that means their portfolio is going up and down, and they may be less inclined to make a big investment. So, stock market does affect franchising, as does inflation. Uh, and, you know, the Fed decides on the interest rates. The interest rates right now for a small business loan aren't great. They're still a little on the high side. That may be preventing people from moving forward with getting a franchise loan for their franchise business that they want to buy. Jobs are in flux. Maybe a downsized executive 2 years ago would have not even thought twice about investing in their own business or a franchise business, or buying a small business that's already going. Now, with the way things are up and down, um, it suggests to me that career changers are really moving towards getting another job as opposed to buying into a business. Now, franchising is a great business model for the right person at the right time, but it's not perfect. There are still great opportunities out there. You, for instance, may be able to buy a franchise that's ongoing already for maybe a little lower price than you could a year or two ago. So there are opportunities, and so there are really good startup franchises. So there are opportunities available. What I'm feeling is that consumers are more cautious, especially when it comes to some big ticket items. Now, there's been a rush to buying big ticket items like cars because tariffs are coming, and people know that. But once that is over and the tariffs have hit, car dealerships are going to be hurting. All right. Now, the other thing that affects franchising is the global economy. Oil, for example, when things are really, really challenging, let's say in the Mideast, that could affect oil prices a lot. So if you're a franchisee who owns a franchise that's maybe in the service business, let's say a plumbing franchise, and you have 10 or 15 vehicles in your territory going out, when gas prices go up 30, 40, 50 cents a gallon, your expenses are increasing a lot. So that affects things. It affects revenue. It affects profit. So think about things like that. Gas prices do affect the franchise business. They affect everything. Consumers are immediately hit with high gas prices. All this stuff is going on right now. I'm talking in the first 6 months of the year. It's very, very chaotic. And I know franchising has been affected. Lead flow is down. There are less people filling out forms right now for franchise opportunities. I don't think it'll remain that way all year, but it could if things don't start to level out. Okay. The next thing that I see affecting franchising is AI and Google. It used to be that you could search for a franchise online, and you still can, and you would be looking at different web portals like Franchise Direct, for instance, which is a strategic partner of mine. They would come up really high in search. Now they're being pushed a little lower because of AI. So franchise buyers are starting to increasingly, slowly, use AI for their franchise searches, which is hurting web traffic on all sorts of franchise websites, including mine, thefranchiseking.com. My traffic is down. It's been down for almost a year now. People are using AI more, and they're not clicking those links to websites like mine and other websites in franchising. So that is definitely affecting things. AI has a lot of positives. Eventually, it's going to help, and it's starting to already help the workflow at franchise headquarters. It's going to help franchisees with their marketing. AI is doing that already. So there's a lot of good things happening with AI, but it is affecting franchising, and it is affecting how people search for franchising. A lot of stuff is happening. Franchising is still a great business model, but it's changing. And finally, the last thing I'll mention are outside sales organizations. They are jumping in and working with young franchisors, and they're aggressively selling franchises to people that are looking. Sometimes, in my opinion, too fast. If a franchise just starts and the concept is new, and 8 months later, 75 new units have been sold, it's very challenging for a young franchisor who may not have the infrastructure in place to support these franchisees and can maybe not even help them open stores fast enough, which makes them very, very cranky, the franchisor and the franchisee. And it's just not a good look. So outside sales organizations are hurting franchising because they probably are selling franchises a little too fast. So those are some of the things going on in franchising. I'll have more. On a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being franchising is rock and rolling, and 1 being franchising is really hurting, I would put it at a 6 right now, with a lot of room for improvement, as I said, if things stabilize. Welcome to hear your comments. Leave them down below. I'll also insert some links to some articles about what is going on in the state of franchising. Thanks for listening. I'm Joel Libava, the Franchise King. See you soon.